Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Tyvis Powell, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
And happy Friday, Northeast Ohio and Cleveland sports fans. Thanks so much for joining us on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We're here with you for the next 30 minutes talking Cavs, Browns, and Guardians. On the Guardians front, is Emmanuel Clase now their best player? We'll discuss. Earl.
What's up, man? I'm Earl of Pearl. Cavs President of Operations Koby Altman just got finished speaking to the media. We'll react to that.
I'm G. Bush, and we're going to talk about the big swagger himself, your boy Marcus Spears. He says this is a make-or-break year for Deshaun Watson. I'm going to tell you why he's right and wrong.
And I'm Mikey McNuggets. The Cavs and the Lakers are two of the most appealing head coaching jobs open on the market right now, but which one is more appealing for the candidates who may be interviewing for both jobs? We'll talk about that coming up in a sec.
All right. Strong opinions on that one for sure. We're going to start today with the Cleveland Cavaliers because their general manager, director of operations, whatever his title is, Koby Altman, finally faced the media after about a week and a half being bounced from the playoffs. Yesterday, the team firing their head coach, JB Bickerstaff. His career record in 4+ years here, a couple of games over 500, but really was his undoing was his 6-11 playoff record over the last 2 years, both years entering the playoffs as a 4 seed. That's underachieving. Mike, he had 3 major comments that you sort of wanted to highlight from his news conference earlier today. Why don't we just do this one at a time? What's the first thing that really jumped out from you on Koby Altman and things he had to say today?
Well, let's start with his decision to part ways with JB Bickerstaff, and he was asked about it. And despite calling it a successful season multiple times, President of Basketball Operations Koby Altman said relieving JB Bickerstaff was a difficult decision. He wanted to thank him for his contributions on and off the court, more specifically saying, quote, "It's not something he did, but with this group it's about finding someone with a different approach and a fresh set of eyes to move us forward." It's kind of what we spoke about earlier on the YouTube show. Do you guys agree with the sentiment that that is the bottom line reason behind dismissing and parting ways with JB Bickerstaff?
I don't. I mean, I think the reason was the players were done with them, chiefly Donovan Mitchell. That came out in a report right after the season ended. Jason Lloyd joined us on the YouTube show just moments ago. He told us that he teed Koby Altman up to just sort of lay it out there as to what, he said, he asked him, did the contract extension for Donovan play any role at all in the decision to let JB go? And he said no. Well, he's protecting his star player. He has to say that. He doesn't want to upset his star player and have him leave. So, to me, the reason was simple. The players have decided that they can't go as far as they want to go with JB, and all this other stuff is sort of window dressing.
Yeah, I call spoiled baloney on that as well. He said, it wasn't something specifically that he didn't do. Well, specifically, you lost the locker room, and that's the ultimate death sentence for any head coach. Once the players go tone deaf on your voice and don't react to you or respond to you anymore, there's no coming back from that.
Time for a new voice.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, this is what happens when you have expectations. And I think sometimes people forget that the Cleveland Cavaliers have won championships in this league before. It was with LeBron James. And when you win 2 games in the last couple of years by being a 4 seed, and you don't have the offensive output that you want to, you didn't look great against the Magic. And on top of that, you got players in the locker room. Marcus Morris just came out and said he just ran his course. And when players do that in the league, you may like it, you may not like it. You may want, you're in old school and you feel like, the coach is supposed to be the end-all, be-all. That's not the way it works anymore. The way it works is these guys make a lot of money, and you got to get your superstar players to buy in. It happens all around the league with the Lakers. You saw it happen. Hey, we saw it with the Milwaukee Bucks. Somebody got fired in like 12 games. I don't even know who his name was. He was just out of there. Doc Rivers just showed up out of a bag, just jumped out like Santa Claus, and was Doc Rivers was coach. That's what happens sometimes. It is what it is. In Cleveland, hey, they're on to a new coach.
What was the second thing that he said that jumped out at you?
The second thing, he was asked about the future of the core four, Donovan, Darius, Evan, and Jarrett. And Koby Altman said, quote, "I don't see us making major super changes. I just don't. You can't make it to a conference semifinals and say this doesn't work." He also said there's way more data that speaks to it working in terms of the pairing of Donovan and Darius than it doesn't. Are you guys buying that the core four is coming back in 2024?
I'm not. I think there's look. He has to say that. Number one, it was reported after the season ended that Darius is going to ask for a trade if Donovan signs the extension. Jason reported here moments ago that all indications are that there's sort of a gentleman's agreement that that's where things are going, and that when the season ends, he will be presented with and will sign the contract extension. Well, the next step is Darius following through on what he's already intimated he's going to do, and that's asked to be traded. So I think Darius is likely gone. Now it's going to be a tough move because he's a max player, and he's not a max player, but his contract and his paycheck says he is. So they're going to have to make a move. He can't look desperate. If he comes out today and says, "Yeah, we're going to look to trade Darius Garland," all the other general managers in the league are going like this.
Yep.
They want to move him. We got him.
Yeah, I'm calling baloney on it again, because if this was good enough, then you would have made it further than the semifinal. And I understand that you dealt with injuries, but if you listen to the reports and you read the reports that have been put out there by, The Athletic, Cleveland.com, Clutch Sports is going to ask for a trade, and all signs are pointing to Donovan Mitchell coming back. And then there's been mixed emotions in the locker room as far as Jared Allen and his effort to at least play. And so when you look at those factors and the nucleus of this team will be the same, I don't see how you can bring the entire quote-unquote core four back.
Yeah, I don't either.
I ain't like to that core four. They was trying to sell me on that last year, and I was like, y'all need to stop saying that. That is not what it is. By the way, can somebody just get to it and be like this? If you brought everybody back, in what universe are they beating the Celtics? What is he talking about to say successful? Like, you make it to a semifinal. Are the Celtics going to wake up and get old?
No, I think the idea is if you bring the right coach in that can develop these players to get them to the next level individually and collectively, you can overtake the Celtics. That's the thinking. You got to think that way.
I mean, I would assume
with Tatum and Brown,
they're going to be a year
and
older too.
Porzingis and Drew Holiday and Horford and White. I could keep going on.
Yeah.
I don't see it. Maybe it's just me. I had to take the shades off. I don't see it.
Well, G, you're lucky because this next quote from Altman, the last one we're going to discuss, kind of touches on that exact department of development. Koby Altman, you may have called baloney on the first two. This one feels like he was taking true serum. He was asked, did you guys get away from unlocking Evan Mobley? And he said, yeah, I think we did. And that needs to be a focal point this summer. To hear the president of basketball operations / GM admit they got away from developing their third overall pick, quote-unquote unicorn. How do you guys take that?
I believe he's telling the truth. I think they did get away from it. And I think the reason they got away from it was because Donovan Mitchell came to town. Ooh. And it wasn't as big a priority because now Donovan can hide all warts.
Yep.
They need to get back in the lab with the pen and the pad, we like to say.
Get this label off.
And exactly right. And figure out a way to make Evan Mobley the unicorn we keep hearing he
Couldn't
is.
agree with you all more than that. I think he's telling the truth here, too. You definitely got away from the development of Evan Mobley being your focal point, especially, with the consideration of a lot of people believe that even with Donovan Mitchell on this team, if Evan Mobley develops into your best player with him and Donovan Mitchell, you have the core of a team that can go compete
if
for an NBA championship.
If he becomes the Cavs' best player with Mitchell on the roster, they're winning a championship.
Absolutely, absolutely. So how you let that fall by the wayside, I have no idea.
But they did.
But they did.
And in the playoffs, I love about the NBA is you find out everybody got a unicorn. We found out Banchero was a unicorn. We found out Ant-Man was a unicorn. We found all these dudes that be playing in the playoffs. You're like, dang, he kind of cold. You start seeing people throw up 40 and 15 and 7 in clutch spots. You do a lot of rethinking. Like, hold on, maybe my outfit ain't as good as I thought it was.
I will say this: the last picture that Evan Mobley painted for us before the season ended was a beautiful picture.
It was.
And I'm gonna take that into the off season.
You're right.
And let's hit the ground running next year.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to stay on the Cavs. This next topic is an interesting one because the Lakers have a head coaching job vacancy right now, and the Cavaliers have a head coaching job vacancy. if you're in the market and you're up for one of these two jobs, which of the two is more attractive?
Wherever LeBron at. Like, that's half the game. That's the first question I'm asking. Hey, dog, what you doing? Because, like, you could be here or you could be here. I'm just saying, I'll come over there. I think, to me, if you're a coach, I would say the Cavs is more attractive for one reason. Because if LeBron is in L.A., you already know what the expectation is. Ain't no learning on the job. Ain't no none of that. Your job is to get to the finals and win a championship. If you're in Cleveland, it's your first year. They say, "Oh, make the playoffs and do your thing."
I mean, for me, I'm gonna go Cleveland as well. You know, Nipsey Hussle used to say this thing is a marathon, not a sprint. And even though LeBron James might possibly be in LA, you probably gonna get the opportunity to coach LeBron James maybe for 1 season, 2 seasons. You know, Anthony Davis is an aging superstar that's always dealt with injuries. I think that the Cavaliers have a younger core, a core that has a lot of potential, very athletic group. These dudes they can ball. They're talented. You have an owner that's willing to spend money. This is one of the top 5 best sports cities in the world. And the food is great in Cleveland. The food is amazing here.
I'm just going to stop it right here. Okay? I love Cleveland. I love it so much I came back.
Right.
And I never intend to leave. Rodeo Drive. Palm trees.
Okay.
That's the tip of the iceberg. Banners.
Yeah.
You say you get the chance to coach LeBron for maybe 1 or 2 years. What have they consistently done in the history of the franchise? They've always had a marquee player.
That's
always.
half.
It's showtime.
Yeah.
Guys, I love Cleveland, but we're Cleveland.
There's
know thyself.
And then everybody in shape. Everybody got abs.
Good job, Steve.
Even the old people look good in Cleveland. Everybody look good in LA. Everybody's
beautiful. Everybody's fit.
The dogs.
Everybody owns an Aston Martin, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
Like,
You can't even drive that here.
As much as Cleveland is home, that's the one thing that LA can't give me.
Yeah.
That LA can't give me that Cleveland can. Other than that, like if you're putting checks in the column, Rodeo Drive and the beauty and the beach and the weather and the blah blah.
But they might fire you after 6 weeks.
It's okay. I had a hell of a 6 week run.
At least you had it. It's on the resume now.
And you know what? And they got to pay me for 3 years.
I'm good.
Yeah.
So I'll be looking at palm trees for 3 years.
You know what? Let me change my answer. It's LA. Go ahead.
One thing you guys are missing, though, it's the Eastern Conference is way easier, and the Western Conference not only is more difficult now, but the 4 best young 25 players under the age of 25 are in the Western Conference. If you're looking at the long picture, I think the Cavs actually are a more appealing job.
Palm trees.
Man,
that's fair.
Yeah.
That's a hard argument. That's a hard mental argument to put on the side.
That's it.
When the rest of the factors do favor the Cavs.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, and right now LeBron is in LA.
Right.
Now, if he changes his mind and he comes back home to Cleveland, then we'll readdress. But right now, if I'm interviewing for both of those jobs and they both ask me where's your dream location, I gotta say,
You know, if
LA.
I'm Koby Altman, I'm taking whatever potential candidate. I'm taking them to Slimers. That's the easy sell. Take them to Slimers.
Bro, if that's the best you got, he's probably going to LA. Yeah, but the corned beef.
But the corned beef is
the Polish boys is crazy.
Taking a break. Marcus Spears on Deshaun Watson. Next year's it. If it doesn't happen next year, it ain't happening. That's what Marcus is saying. We'll debate that next. Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Interesting comments recently from an old friend of mine, Marcus Spears. Recently on our quarterback, Deshaun Watson, these comments made on NFL Live. Listen.
I don't know if he's ever going to return to the player in Houston. That player in Houston was a guy we had on the same pedestal with Patrick Mahomes. I'm not sure if he ever gets back to that point with his production and the things he was doing. This is a show me year for Deshaun Watson. And look, unfortunately, his availability has been rocked by some injuries, significant injuries, by the way, that you can't perform with. But you said it, Tim, 5-year, $230 million, that's a financial anchor. We going to be the hell with that anchor if he don't perform well or if he's unavailable. Listen, this is the National Football League. And I get it. We've had a lot of nuance and a lot of discussion about Deshaun Watson getting back to the point where he's playing at a high level. He has to play at a high level this year. This is the year of demarcation for Deshaun Watson, if this was a good investment or not. And if not, unfortunately for the Cleveland Browns, it's going to look like the worst acquisition that we've seen in this league probably ever.
Marcus stole my notes. I mean, I've been saying that. I initially said when we made the deal, if it doesn't work, it'll be the worst trade that we've ever made, amongst the worst that we've seen in the NFL. And I've been saying all this offseason, it's time. And I think you guys agree with that. Now, what we might not agree with is if it doesn't happen next year, there are still 2 more years on the contract. But do they move on if it's a definitive, it didn't happen again?
Well, listen, that's the part I agree with him. I said in the opening, I said, he was right and he was wrong. He is right. If you go back and listen to Deshaun Watson, he's saying that, guess what? For me, I got the same expectation. It ain't no like y'all got higher expectations than me. I expect to go out there and play at a high level, and I think he will. The problem that I have is, first of all, it's not the worst trade in the history of all mankind. Let's be clear. The kid from that came out of South Dakota State went Trey Lance went to the San Francisco 49ers. They gave up 3 first-round picks, and they still went to the Super Bowl. No one says that's a terrible trade, right? Browns went to the playoffs, they at the Super Bowl. But when you talk about it and you talk about the contract and whatever that goes into it, that's the going rate for a quarterback that is a franchise quarterback. So,
but if he doesn't become a franchise quarterback, you overpaid.
So, overpaying is a thing, right? I overpay for a lot of different stuff. You got bad credit out here, you're going to overpay for certain things. Sure. But guess what? At the same time, it's the going rate. What are you going to do? At the time, the Browns made the decision because that was the best decision they had in front of them. Does he need to play better? Yes, Earl.
Not better. Is it make or break? Like, does he need to return to that MVP Deshaun Watson, or this thing's a wrap?
To me, okay, he said, does Deshaun Watson needs to play at a high level this year or it becomes make or break? I think, to me, we all have a different definition of what high level is. Like, one, I need
we know it when we see it.
Yeah, like I need my quarterback healthy. And we've had this conversation. For me, it's never going to be bogged down into the stats and things like that. But did my franchise quarterback make big plays in big moments that was the difference in the Browns winning and not losing a game? Because I think the one thing we all agree on, Deshaun Watson doesn't have to win us every single game, but Deshaun Watson cannot be the reason why the Browns don't win games.
That's a fact.
And that's what it boils down to.
Yeah. I think, to your point, like, it's not necessarily about the numbers. We know what elite play looks like.
Right.
I don't even look at the stats.
Right.
I'll just watch. I'll tell you with my eyeballs, that's elite or that isn't. And unfortunately, of the 11-plus games he's played, I saw a half of elite play. I saw a whole lot of average play. And I think what Marcus is saying is we can't have that guy again. We can't have the Deshaun that we've had for the 11 games minus the Ravens second half. We need elite level play, and then this whole thing turns the page, and then we're thinking about years 4 and 5, wishing we had 6 and 7.
Right.
That's where we need to.
I'm greedy, Jay. I need the stats too. All right. I'm with the stats.
Mikey, you want to do the tech topic here?
Yeah, we actually have a little time. Let's do it.
Okay, good.
So, the NFL is implementing new technology this season for the preseason to start that will electronically spot a football. This would, in theory, replace the chain gang. So my question for you guys is, do you like the technology?
Yes.
Or do you prefer and enjoy the drama that comes with the chain gang and whether or not you're half a yard forward, back?
I need the chain gang.
I literally, when I read this on the rundown last night, I'm like, is he kidding?
I need the chain gang.
Like, what?
Yeah. I like the chain gang, too. I'm Team Earl here.
Thank you.
Oh, my gosh. No, absolutely not. You remember the year that the Browns, I can't remember. It was
what name of year?
It's happened many times. They stretched the chains. The ball is this far behind the clip.
Gene's territory.
First down. I'm like, in what world is that football touch? That's just simple.
I don't like human error.
I don't either.
I don't like. Listen, I've been trying to get AI to get half these people out of here. No, under no circumstances do you count on drama to cause you a game when you have the technology to do it. This is the most inexact science in the world.
Earl,
get rid of it.
Think about this. All of the games that are decided on goal line stands. Mm-hmm. You can't even see the football.
At all.
A camera can't see it. The referees on the line can't see it. It's a huddle of 2,000 pounds coming together, and somewhere in there is a football, and you're like, well, if we take the sky camera angle, or if we take this back angle, is that the football? Is that the nose of the football? Put a chip in the damn ball. Put a chip on the goal line. If it crosses it, it's a touchdown, and we don't have to guess.
So what if the battery died in the machine in the fourth quarter
Battery
with 2
died?
minutes to go?
What?
Like seriously,
The battery
like
don't die.
this.
You have a backup
But
battery.
see, and I'm surprised the young guys is on the
I
side.
am too. I thought you guys would be on the side of tech.
No.
The chain gang is awesome.
Yes.
Give the old guys on the panel the technology. Here's another thing. It's like baseball. I know there's romance in watching Angel Hernandez call strikes that are 8 inches off the plate. I get that. I don't want that.
I don't want it.
And you know why? Here's the biggest single reason, and you guys are going to flip when I say this. Right now, the popularity of professional sports is at an all-time high because gambling.
Because of chain gangs.
Yeah, you're right. God, we got to have that chain gang. We gamble on sports. When there are decisions made like Gene Steratore, when you're clearly looking and you say, bro, that's not a first down, you automatically start asking, is what I'm seeing real? Or is this professional wrestling? Give me a box that Major League Baseball calls a strike every time it's in that box and a ball every time it's not. I want accuracy. I don't want romance and chain gang.
Give me the chain gang and give me gasoline vehicles.
No, I'm with you on the gasoline vehicles.
I'm cool on.
I'm with you on that.
Until y'all have to get off a block, a 300-pound man, and then tackle somebody in the backfield, and then they say first down.
Yeah,
y'all can opine.
You're right. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, is Emmanuel Clase officially the best Cleveland Guardians on this current roster? It's food for thought. We'll talk about it next. Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on this Friday before Memorial Day weekend. Question: is Emmanuel Clase the best Guardians player on the roster right now?
Nah, we can't do that. Like, I'm sorry. Y'all be making me look like the villain. I'm sorry. I got glasses on and stuff, but listen, come on. Emmanuel Clase is doing his thing. If Mariano Rivera is not the best player on his team at that time, we all knew it was Jeter. We all knew it was somebody else other than him. He only played like a half inning, right? I mean, he's a great specialist. Like, a kicker can't be your best player. Tucker is awesome, but he's your leading scorer almost, but no, you can't be the best.
Nah, man.
Jose's the guy.
And I love Emmanuel Clase. Like, I think if Mariano Rivera had a son, it's Emmanuel Clase.
Yeah.
That's the only other person I know with a 100-mile-per-hour cutter. But it's Jose Ramirez, hands down. Like, hands down. Without question.
I think this is there's very little argument to this. Your analogy, actually, about Tucker being the best player on the Ravens, no, he's not. Now, he can be the reason you win a championship.
Yeah.
But if you average out, he's played the equivalent, guys, of 2+ baseball games all season. He's got 25 innings under his belt. Now, those are big innings.
Yeah.
It's the 9th inning. Those are the 3 most difficult outs to get. And he is great at it. And he's baseball's best specialist right now. But he's not the best player on the Guardians. That is still Jose Ramirez.
If they stretched him out and said, listen, you got to do the 8th inning, 9th. Has there ever
Then we can talk.
Then you could talk.
Then we could talk.
Has that been done before?
Not in modern day baseball. No, everything's so specialized. You've got an 8th inning guy. You got a 9th inning guy.
Wow.
And by the way, we saw Chase Smith come in after Clase won and saved games on 3 consecutive days. Mm-hmm. We saw Chase Smith come in to fill that role the other day, and he struck out all 3. No, he gave up a double to Frankie, but the 3 outs were all strikeouts.
Austin Hedges says that dude throws some heat, and he's the future of the Cleveland Guardians.
100%. He is closer material. And what they're going to have the rest of this year is Chase Smith in the 8th. Even though it hasn't been that way, it's going to eventually work its way. Chase Smith in the 8th, Emmanuel Clase in the 9th, and that is going to be what the Guardians had when they had Miller in the 8th and Allen in the 9th in 2016.
So is it Hunter Gaddis in the 7th?
I think so. I just think, to me, Smith is better and more reliable. He's younger, and Gaddis is great, but if you've got those 3 for 7, 8, 9, you got 6 innings to beat us.
That's mean right there.
All right, we're out of time. Have a great Memorial Day weekend. Remember the reason that we celebrate the holiday. Spend some time thinking about that. To all those that have come before us and fought for our freedom, We give you much thanks. Have a great weekend. We'll see you back here at Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on Monday. See you guys.
Peace.